Lab10B. Hi, Joe Cerrone. Today we're going to look at creating mates for this drawer using the cam and limit mates. The files are located on the main splash page, and they're also located in the Contents tab. And when we work with these files, what we're going to do is we're going to download them and put them in the same folder. So I've created a folder called Lab10, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on that file. I'm going to save the link as, and I'm going to save it in my 230-2020 Lab10. I'm going to download part 1, part 2, and I'm also going to save the assembly, which will be CamMates assembly file. Once you've downloaded those files, we can begin. If we want to look at the curriculum is located in the textbook in Chapter 11. And so we're going to open the file Limit in CamMates by going to Solidworks and say File Open. And then I'm going to select the Cam and Limit Mate Assembly. And so it pulls in the other two files, part 1 and part 2. And then we're going to take a look at the assignment. As we start with this folder, or with this file, what we're going to do is we're going to apply a limit mate, which will allow us to put a specified distance and angle. And so we can set up the limits of this drawer or top that goes over it to be between 0 and 90 degrees. And then we can also get the pin to follow the contour of this slot. And so we will use a couple of different mates to be able to work with that. One of them is the cam mate, and the other one will be the width mate. And so as we get started, we're going to start with the width mate. And so we're going to click on Mate from the Assembly tab. We'll go down to Advanced Mates, and then what we'll do is we'll select the width mate for these two parts. As we look at it, it's very specific, but I'm just going to demonstrate it, and I think it'll be more clear to you after I've done that. So switching back to SolidWorks, remember mates are like glue. What they do is they take away certain degrees of freedom so that our part will work within the specified. So we're going to start off with this width mate, and if we take a look, when we apply the width mate, what we're going to do is we're going to select the advanced mates, and then basically we select the side of this and the side of this, and they will populate this mate selection, and then we select the inside of this box and the inside of this box, and that will populate the other one. And so when we select the mates for this, one part both sides, other part both sides. So as we go to the mate tool, we'll click on the paper clip, we'll go down to advanced mates, and then we can click on width, and here in the blue box we'll go and we'll click on this face. Notice that the cursor line face, when we select the face, it's square like that, and then we'll push the middle mouse wheel and select the other side, and so that's one width, and then we can click in the purple box and then the other width, and then that will line them up and allow us to mate those exactly in between the two parts. And so this is the best way to mate parts that work like this. And so we'll green check mark that, and then we will take a look at our next steps. So once we've selected the width mate, we can then apply the cam mate. And when we apply the cam mate, what we're going to do is we're going to select the inside face of this slot, and then we're going to select the cylindrical portion of the pin. And I would probably select the pin on the other side just because I'm going to select this as the slot that it's going to follow. So to apply the cam mate, we're going to go to Mechanical Mates and select Cam Mate. And so we'll go here to Mechanical Mates, and we'll select Cam. And then here's our cam follower path. And so we'll zoom in and select this part of the slot here, the face of it. And then you'll notice that it selects the entire slot. And then for the follower, we're going to come here and we're going to hover over this part and we're going to select that face. Now you'll notice as you look in that it's not within the slot, it's going around the outside. And that's what's called anti-aliasing in our mate alignment. So what we want to do is to get it so that this edge is on the inside edge of this slot. And to do that, we can click on the mate alignment and we can toggle that back and forth until it goes into the right spot. Now that that cam is in the right spot, we can then green check mark that. And so this mate has now been set. And we've aligned it properly. The next thing we're going to do is to add a parallel mate between the top of the slider and the top face, or this face right here, so that that component will stay parallel. Now once we do add that parallel mate, they want us to suppress it. And so we'll add it and then we'll take it away so that we can understand how that mate works a little bit better. After we add the parallel mate and then suppress it, we'll add an advanced mate, which will then allow us to mate this within a 90-degree angle for this angular measurement, or so that it works the way it would work in real life, essentially. So let's get started. We'll start by adding the parallel mate. We'll go to our paperclip, we'll select mates, and we'll click on parallel. We'll select this face right here, and then we'll zoom in and select this face right here. And you'll notice that they now line up parallel. And then we'll green check mark that, green check mark that. And if we want to take a look at our mates, we can hit this little arrow here, expand this out, and we can then right mouse click here, and then we can suppress that parallel mate. Because mates have a tendency to disagree with each other when we overdefine or when you add too many mates. So as we start to work through this problem, the next thing that we're going to do is to add this limit mate. And this is an advanced mate also. And so what we're going to do is we're going to select these two faces again, and then we're going to go and we're going to click on this angular measurement arrow here, and we're going to apply a 0, a 90, and a 0 in these respective boxes. Back to mates, and then we're going to go to advanced mates, and we're going to go and we're going to click on this, and we're going to click on this, and then we're going to click on our arrow here, and you'll notice that, or click on this button right here for our limit angle, and we'll start off with 0. We'll click in this box and make this 90. And then this will be 0. And so that's going to define our limits mate, and we'll green check mark that and green check mark it again. Once we've applied that mate, we can drag the part, and it takes a little getting used to is what it says here. Depending on where you drag the parts from, it will react a little bit differently. And so it has us go through and drag it, try it at different angles, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to take this part, and as we move it, it can be a little bit wonky. And it depends on where you grab it from. And so it works better if you grab it from here down near the cylindrical portion that kind of follows it. And then as you look at different orientations, the textbook says go ahead and grab the front view, and you can then take it and you can move the mate from right here. Or you can go through and you can move that mate from right here. Notice that when it gets to that 90-degree limit, then it starts to be able to move with that. I think it just takes a little bit of experimentation as you start to work with these. Once we have completed this assignment, we'll save it. So we'll say File, Save As. We'll go ahead and rebuild it. And I'm going to save this in my folder as my initials dash Lab10B. And then I'm going to pack and go by using the pack and go. And what that does is it maintains the connection between each of the different parts. And so I'm going to say save it to a zip file, and I'll put that in my folder for Lab 10, and I'll save this as my initials dash Lab10B, and I'll hit save. And what that will do is it will save that as a zip file, which I will then insert into the Dropbox assignments folder. And so if I come back to my D2L and I'm ready to turn in my assignments, if I view as a student, I can go to my assignments folder, module 10, add a file, my computer, upload, and then I will find the Lab10B zip file right there. I can open that, add it, and if you have any quick note, feel free to add it here and go ahead and submit. That completes Lab10B.